Cross your legs in the center of your shins. Take your feet beneath your knees. Take your shoulders over your hips. See that your spine is lifted, your side ribs, both sides lifting. And before doing all the adjustments, let's practice observation. Being and observing. So noticing the current moment experience, physical, not whether you like it or not, just what is. The emotional, noticing the mind, the thoughts. Are they slowly wandering through? Are they racing through? Are they the past, the future? And even though through the class there will be doing, we'll be moving our legs, our arms, our bodies, we always want to come back to this part. Once we do, we want to observe. Just take an action, observe, take an action, observe. Get into whatever the final form of a pose is for you today, whatever that means, and then we observe. Balance evenly on your sits bones. Lengthen through the inner groins. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Lift and lengthen through the side ribs. Ensure that the front bottom ribs move towards the back body. Allow the shoulders to descend down and away from the sides of your neck. As the shoulders descend, there's a lifting of the flesh on the front of the body, a descending of the flesh on the back of the body. As you lift the flesh of the front of the body, there's a tendency for the front bottom ribs to push forward. So you have to keep the front bottom ribs moving back and lift the flesh of the front of the body. And at the same time, allow the flesh of the back body to descend, especially the top of the back. Lengthen from your armpits through your inner elbows. And as the elbows then descend, bring your palms together to touch your chest. Touch your palms evenly. Soften all of your facial features as you rest your eyes into your cheekbones. We've taken many actions. Those are the doings. Now we want to observe the effects. So we can go back to the experience of the physical body, the emotional body, the mind, just in noticing. And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together, exhaling completely. Deep inhalation. Om. 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 Returning to observation. Keep your sternum lifted as you lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head. In the back of your head, gently let your eyelids open. Straighten the legs. So you want your buttocks on the lift, but your thighs off the lift. Take your hands by your hips. And depending on the lift you have, maybe you want to take your fingertips by your sides if you don't have the blanket sticking out, so I can take my hands on those blankets. But if the lift were narrower, I would take my fingertips by my hips. And you can bend the elbows. I'm not worried about them being straight, at least yet. Awaken the legs. Bring awareness to the legs. The thighs press down. Don't jam the knees down, but take your awareness. Imagine that you put weights on the tops of your thighs. And if you go to advanced classes or advanced workshops, they do that. Take 25 or even 50-pound weights, put them on tops of your thighs. The more you can get that experience of the thighs pressing down, the more your side ribs lift and lengthen. Of course, balance evenly on the sits bones. Lengthen from the inner thighs to the inner knees, to the inner heels. Toes point at the ceiling, so you're not pushing your toes forward. You do extend through the ball of the toe, but you don't want to, that's it, Kathy. Let the toes themselves point up. Little toes do move back towards you. Bottoms of your feet are parallel to the wall in front of you. There is the lengthening of the groin. So I said, extend out through the inner leg. At the top of the thigh, there's the drawing back. And you have to begin to discern your body and look at your legs. So the traditional instruction is you turn your thighs and press your thighs down. But you actually have to look at your kneecaps. Your kneecaps point up. So for me, I have one leg that's slightly turned in. I only figured this out. I've been doing yoga for, I don't know how many years. And then a teacher came over to me and said, don't turn that leg in. I said, but you said turn the thighs in. Yeah, but your thighs already turned in. So I actually have to turn, for me, this right leg out a little bit so that my kneecap points towards the ceiling, and then press the thighs down. I'm not saying you have the same thing as I do, but you have to look at your kneecaps. And if there were flashlights on your kneecaps and those lights were pointing towards the ceiling, they should be completely parallel to each other, not getting closer to each other, not moving away from each other. And for some of us, it takes quite a lot of effort just to keep the legs like that. Because my other leg, I have to turn in. So I turn one leg in, one leg out. So you have to begin to take the instructions that we and all teachers give you and translate them through your body. And yes, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact your hips together. Now, without pushing your ribs forward, you can begin to slowly straighten your arms. I don't care if they get straight. I'm not straightening mine, but they're getting a little straighter. Lift through the side ribs, but keep the front bottom ribs back. That's it, Carla. And bring the shoulder blades in to lift the chest. So you have to begin to differentiate the act of the shoulder blades coming in to lift the chest versus sticking the front bottom ribs out. So see if you can take the front bottom ribs back. That actually releases the diaphragm. The abdomen is quite strong here. The abdomen is working. If you're on a monthly cycle, you don't hold this pose because there's quite a lot of work in the abdomen here. But keep the front bottom ribs moving back and take the shoulder blades, move them in and up, having the shoulder blades lift the chest. I know it's a lot of work, right? People walking by think we're just sitting here. That's not yoga. They're not moving. They're not doing anything. But if you really do this pose, there's quite a lot of work that goes on here to maintain this. Soften your shoulders, George. There we go. Separate your legs. Now you can adjust the height if you need. If this height's too high for you, too low for you, you can adjust. You want to be at the height, if your blankets are like this, at the edge of them. So there's not a huge tilt forward, but there's a slight tilting forward. You're at the edge of the sit bone set. There's a slight tilting forward of the pelvis. And again, you need to, well, one, make sure your feet are on the same plane. So if you have board lines, line them up with the board lines. And if you don't have board lines, then you just have to look carefully. And chances are the same thing you had to do with your legs to get those kneecaps up, you're going to have to do here. So for me, not mirroring, this is my left leg, I have to turn that slightly in, but this leg, it's naturally turned in. So I actually have to turn it slightly out. Of course, then my toe points out. See that? So then I have to work the toe in. I have to work the upper leg and lower leg differently. This is when you get to the advanced work. So look, are your kneecaps pointed up? Are your toes pointed up? Can you point your toes and kneecaps up at the same time? Or do you need to move the upper leg and lower leg differently? What do you need to do? And then of course, press the tops of the thighs down. Again, imagine there's a huge weight on those thighs, pushing them down so that the torso lifts up. If the thighs are coming up, the torso sinks down. If the thighs press down, the torso lifts up, and that's what we're looking for. And if you don't believe me, try it. Just let go in the thighs and see what happens to your torso. You can experiment. You see that? Some people here experimenting. Yeah, it's good to experiment. I mean, I do know what happens if I do this. Look, that's what B.K.S. Iyengar did. That's how he came up with all this stuff, is he experimented. And when he found something that he felt was good, he shared it with everybody. And he kept the other stuff to himself, I guess. I'm assuming. Lengthen through the inner legs. From the upper inner thighs, even though you're extending out through the inner leg, from the very upper inner thighs, you're also drawing back. So there's a spreading there, out in both directions. The flesh descends, flesh of the inner thighs descends, draw from the outer knees to outer hips. Try not to lean forward or back. So Sean, you're leaning back. Kathy, you're leaning forward. It's good to know what your defaults are. My default in general is leaning back also. I'm a back leaner. So you have to find out if you're a forward leaner or a back leaner. You're a back leaner, George. Bring the front bottom ribs in towards the back body, and then move up in the torso, bring the shoulder blades in to lift the chest without pushing the front ribs forward. Again, elbows can be bent. I don't care if the elbows are straight. One day they straighten, sure. You can begin the straightening of them to help lift up through the side ribs, remembering that you want an evenness on the two sides. And by this time, for many of us, because we've spent some moments focusing on the torso, one or both of your legs have fallen out. Then I have to keep that lift of the torso and go back. Are my kneecaps both still pointed up? Am I still lengthening through the inner thighs? Am I still drawing from the outer knees to the outer hips? And take a moment to observe the experience of the body. Again, not whether you like it or not, but what is the experience? The experience of the breath as it flows through your body, the experience of your emotions. Some of you may find that emotions become more intense in these poses. They get unleashed because they've been suppressed. Others might find that they get neutralized. Take your hands on the inside of your knees. Use your arms. Pull to come up. Take your feet together. So this, for me, I have to adjust. I have the blanket here and my foot is half on, half off. So move a little back. Now, again, you might want to adjust your lift. Maybe you'd rather be on the floor. Maybe you need a higher lift from what you had before. I need a higher lift. I'll be right back. I'm getting another blanket. Isn't it wonderful just to be able to walk around the studio? I'm within 6 feet of Sean now. I'm still more than 6 feet away from George. That's better. Now I can open my groins a little bit more. See how my knees are closer to the same height as my hips? My knees aren't above my hips anymore. I'll show you again for those that want to see. So here's on a lower lift. And my knees are fairly high compared to my hips. And here's me on a higher lift, where my knees are closer at least. Some teachers might make me get a higher lift, but it feels better. So then we go for the lengthening of the inner thighs. Again, in both directions. So the upper inner thighs draw back. In fact, the more you can draw inward, from the upper inner thighs drawing inward, the more the knees will begin to move away from each other. It's not a downward action. Many people just try and push their knees down because I said it's supposed to go down closer to your hips. They don't have to be in line with your hips, by the way. And depending on your makeup, that may not even be healthy for the way your bones are shaped. But you do want an opening here. But it's not a downward action. It's an outward action. So move the knees further away from each other. As you do that, they may go down. But they will go down because as you move the knees away from each other, there's an opening that takes place here. If you just push them down, you are pushing them down before you get the opening. That's called harm. In the first of the yamas is ahimsa, not harming. And many people think that means be a vegetarian. Fine, be a vegetarian if you want. But it's inclusive of not harming yourself. I mean, I am pro-vegetarian, don't get me wrong, but I don't judge people. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Shoulders down. Front bottom ribs back. Bring the shoulder blades in to lift the chest. And can you separate the action of the front bottom ribs and the shoulder blades? Leanne in the studio is getting bonus points because she changed the height of her blanket. Well, we get stuck. Well, I already picked this. I don't really want to change it. But it makes sense to, if something isn't feeling right, to change it, or even just to experiment. We're not doing inversions today, but I remember a class, for shoulder stand, the average we give for, keep extending. I know you're in a pose. the average we say is take 3 blankets to support your shoulders. And I was in a class maybe a few years ago now, where he said, go get 10 blankets. And we did a shoulder sit on 10 blankets, then on 9, then on 8, then on 7, then on 6, then on 5, then on 4, then on 3, then on 2, then on 1, then on none. And he said, which felt best to you? That's your new shoulder stand. Very hard to stay up with. You need a partner. You can't do it on your own. You need a partner. So I don't think anyone, but I often do 7. Yeah, they're actually very different poses. I do 7, I do 6, I do 4 still sometimes. But it's like a different pose. It's called the same thing, but it's a very different pose. 4 blankets and even 6 blankets and 7 blankets, very different. So I do them for different reasons. If I want to hang out for 20 minutes, I take the 7 blankets now. After a certain point, it's impossible. You just too far up. It depends on your body. Every body is different. Nothing's but that point for you is different than the point for me, different than the point for Leanne. Depends on the length of your torso, the length of your arms, the length of your neck, all of it. Take your hands on the outside of your knees, push your legs together. Take your hands behind your knee, draw the flesh towards your buttocks, drag the heel, straighten your leg. Other leg, draw the flesh towards the buttocks, drag your heel, straighten your leg. This Dandasana most likely feels different than how you did it before. If it doesn't, that means you didn't do anything. Press the thighs down, lift the side ribs. Take the front bottom ribs back, bring the shoulder blades in. And release. All right, come off of your left. Prepare for downward facing dog. If you need blocks or chairs or anything like that, go get them. Shoulders over your wrists. You know, this is a therapeutic for the shoulders. The traditional pose, which I rarely teach, is middle finger pointing forward. I usually teach it with the first finger pointing forward. A little softer on the shoulders is hands turned out slightly, so your first finger is pointed towards the corner of your sticky mat. So let's everyone turn your hands out slightly to turn your first finger so it's pointing towards the corner of the sticky mat. Still spread your fingers apart and still press through the ball of the first finger and thumb. Now you might notice your upper arms are turned out already. That's turning your hands out helps turn the upper arms out. So the upper arms do turn out, but then press down through the balls of the first finger and thumb. Push into the floor to lengthen through the inner arms. Now turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Inhale, lengthen through the arms, and exhale, a little short here because of the wall, but press your thighs back. Take your chest towards your thighs, take your sit bones towards the ceiling. Now, don't fall into the outer hand. So press down through the ball of the first finger and thumb. Your upper arms are already mostly turned out. If you want to turn them out more, that's fine. But then press down through the balls of the first finger and thumbs. The elbows still lift up as the outer shoulders move down. Still that lengthening through the inner arms, through the armpits, and through the side ribs as you press your hips back and your sit bones back. Keep the thigh bones pressing back. That's what we've been working on, those thigh bones pressing back. Lengthen through the inner legs as you lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Then extend your outer heels down towards the floor. Kathy, see if you can just take your heels further apart, not your feet, your heels move further apart. That's it. And then press your thighs back. And then look up, walk your feet forward, sweep your arms back, extend your chest forward, inhale, come all the way up. Tadasana. Feet together or hip distance apart. If your feet are hip distance apart, please make sure your toes are really forward. If your feet are together, it also doesn't hurt to look down to make sure that line between your feet is going straight forward versus a little off to the side, which can happen for a lot of us. Press the thigh bones back. Well, balance evenly on the feet. And press the thigh bones back, not just the knees, the thighs. Good, Carl, that's looking better. Yeah, good. Of course, Gita would say never compliment someone like that because then they're going to stop doing the work that got them there. So you got to balance it. Press the thighs back, lengthen from the inner knees through the lower abdomen. That reflects all the way up into the chest. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together, and let that upward action reflect into the side ribs so that there's a lifting and a lengthening there. Watch the side bodies. Good. That was a good correction, Kathy. Now, again, take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Take the base of the shoulder blades in and up to lift the chest without just pushing the ribs forward. So take the front ribs back and the shoulder blades in and up, and then lengthen through the arms. There should be a softness here, not a harshness. A softness doesn't mean no work. It's just a different kind of work. Arms out to the sides. Rotate the arms up. Did you notice your front ribs just move forward? So take your front ribs back. Still take the shoulder blades in and up, especially the base of the shoulder blades in and up. Inhale, take the arms up. Palms face each other. So that means the triceps need to turn towards the nose, Bob. Triceps towards the nose. There we go. Press through the feet. Soften your face. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Continue lengthening through the side ribs. Open those armpits and extend through the arms. Turn your hands out to the sides. Exhale, come down. Interlace your fingers together. Turn your palms out. Push the webbing of the fingers together. Inhale, come up. Front ribs back, shoulder blades in. Imagine as your shoulder blades come in and lift up. They're lifting the chest and pushing the arms up. Wrists up, shoulders down. Release your arms out to the sides. Come down. Interlace your fingers together the opposite way. Turn the palms out. Push the webbing of the fingers together. Inhale, come up. Wrists up, shoulders down. So front bottom ribs back. Take the shoulder blades in and up and push the arms up from the shoulder blades. Release your arms out to the sides. Everyone get a strap. Get a strap or something that would resemble a strap. At home, that can be, a towel or a scarf. I liked using a scarf when I was at home. Do you see? Were you looking for them? Oh, Kleenex. In back behind the curtain there. There's a basket there. Do you see it? We're still reorganizing. Stick the arms up. Oh, you can't really see me there. I'm just down for the people at home so they can see as we get started here. The distance of your arms or your hands depends on your shoulders. So first, be here with your arms up. Did you notice your front ribs go forward, by the way? Take them back. And not harshly, but begin to try and stretch the strap, which isn't really stretchable. Not harshly, but not that, yeah, I'm gonna get it. But the one where you're stretching it more and more as time goes on. From the armpits, not just from the hands. We're doing this not to stretch the strap, to be clear. We're doing it to open your armpits. If you grimace, you're working too hard. I didn't mean to look at you when I said that. With love and affection, you know that. All right, take your arms back behind you. And then take your arms up and in front of you. And then go back and forth. Notice which shoulder gets stuck for some of us. And maybe you need to take your arms a little further apart. That's totally fine. And as you come up and over the back, the next time you go back, stop at that place that just feels most open to you. Notice how when you're there, your front bottom ribs thrust forward, and draw the front bottom ribs back, and then take the shoulder blades forward and up, as if your shoulder blades are lifting your chest.
So you said the place most open, not from the place that's tightest.
That feels really open in your armpits. It might be tight or opening. That feels the most like, this is where I need this.
Oh, okay. So that's
This is where the place where I need, this is where I need this. Thank you for the clarification. And then take your arms down and arms up, and put the strap down. And come towards the front of your mat. Extend your arms forward, arms up. Did you notice your ribs thrust forward? Draw them in. Shoulder blades in and up. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, exhale, hands on the floor. Find to bend your knees if you need to. Walk your feet back, downward facing dog. Thighs back. Turn your thighs and press your thighs back. Again, you can have your hands turned out slightly. Press down to the balls of the first finger and thumb. Upper arms are rotating out. Lengthen through the inner arms, armpits, and side ribs. Press those thighs back. Really press the thighs back. As you press the thighs back, extend the outer heels down, lift the outer hips up. And as you press the thighs back, take the shoulder blades into the body. The shoulder blades, they do move down your back, but they also then kind of move back in and up to extend the chest forward. And then look up, walk your feet forward. Sweep your arms back. Extend your chest forward, thighs back, arms back, chest forward. Inhale, come up. Tadasana. Thighs back, lift up through the side ribs, front ribs back, shoulder blades in and up. Front ribs back, shoulder blades in and up. Take your hands on your hips. Virabhadrasana 1. We're not going to turn the mats. We're just going to do the mats as they are right now. So take your right foot forward and left leg back. And I did my real front foot, so I didn't mirror. That was bad. I know, right? You know you did something wrong when the students aren't doing what you said. All right. Now take your back foot forward again and watch. So some of you actually did it nicely, and others do what many of us do. So when we take the front foot forward, I want you to look at my hips. I'm going to take my left foot, mirroring left foot back. Did you see how I opened there? A lot of you are doing that. Don't do that. You want to keep your hips squared. See the difference? At home, I hope you saw the difference. So open hip, square hips. Okay? So right foot forward, left foot back, and keep those hips squared. And if it goes back a little, that's okay. Just take it back forward. So that back thigh actually turns in, and that helps take the hip forward. Now legs, we're still lengthening the inner groins. We're going to bend the front leg in a moment. We're still lifting from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Front bottom ribs back. This is the first of the back bends. Front bottom ribs back. I want you to begin. Before we bend the leg, I want you to take those shoulder blades in to lift the chest. Shoulder blades in to lift the chest. Inhale, exhale, bend the front leg. bend the front leg. Knee over the ankle, thigh parallel to the floor. So my legs weren't wide enough. I had to widen my stance a little bit. And yes, there's an ongoing battle between, do you really keep the hips squared or do you get the back heel down? It's a 3,000-year-old debate. No one has the answer yet. But keep your torso lifted. So just go after them both to the best you can. Press into the back heel. Turn the back thigh in and press into the back heel. Not from the knee though, right, Carla? Not from the knee. It's from higher, from your buttock. You can press down into it even. Okay. Take the left ribs forward. Now bring your front bottom ribs back. Draw your abdomen in and draw your abdomen up into your chest. And then take your shoulder blades in to lift your chest. And extend your arms forward from the base of your shoulder blades. Push your arms up. Keep the front bottom ribs back. Keep those shoulder blades moving in to lift the chest and use the shoulder blades to then push your arms up. Not the shoulders come down, but the shoulder blades move in and up. And you can eventually look up, but it's fine to look forward as well. You only look up if you're getting really that action from the shoulder blades and the chest is lifting. Otherwise, you're doing it all in your neck. See if you're able, Kathy, to lengthen through your right side. Good. Now reach for the ceiling as you straighten that front leg. We're going to turn to the side. We're going to parallel our feet, arms out to the side, and then just step your feet together and turn to face the front. The old front, this front towards me. Make sense? Everybody with us? Left foot forward. Keep those hips squared. Remember, keep the hips squared as you take your right leg back. Now it is front heel in line with back arch. If you didn't have your legs wide enough before, try and take them a little wider apart and see what happens. There is a balance issue that goes on, so you have to do the best you can. Turn that back thigh in. Press the back thigh back, not the knee. And at best you can, press into that back heel. Lengthen through the inner groins, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Take the front bottom ribs back. Take the shoulder blades in and up. So we're preparing it all here while it's a little easier to access. I didn't say easy, but easier than when your front leg is bent. Inhale, exhale, bend that front leg. Knee over the ankle, thigh parallel to the floor. Probably should get a mat for me here because my feet are slipping. Take that back foot, the back hip forward. Your torso parallel to the front wall. Take your front ribs back. Draw your abdomen in and up. So that helps lift the chest too. And then take your shoulder blades in and up to lift the chest. Now extend the arms forward. From the base of the shoulder blades, push the arms up. Keep pressing the back heel, front bottom ribs back, shoulder blades in and up. Shoulder blades are pushing your arms up. Soft face. There should be ease in the neck. If you're looking up, there should be ease in the neck. If there isn't, then look forward until there is ease in the neck. Face soft. Imagine you're enjoying this. And then reach for the ceiling, straighten the front leg. We're going to turn, parallel your feet, turn to the side, arms out to the side, step your feet together. If you want to jump, you can. Face the front, Tadasana. Hands on hips, right foot forward, keep the hips squared, left leg back. Do whatever adjusting you need to do. So turn that back thigh in, lift both outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips together. Take the front bottom ribs back, the back bottom ribs in and up. Now here, we're going to take the arms up first, okay? So extend your arms forward. Keep the ribs back. From the base of your shoulder blades, push your arms up. Now I want you to reach up with the arms. The shoulder blades are moving in and up to push your arms up, right? Urdhva Hastasana with the arms, right? Now I want you to reach up and imagine like you're gonna hold on to something. Like the rungs of a ladder, you're holding on, the arms won't come down. Inhale, reach up as you bend that front leg. Reach up, reach up, reach up. If your head goes up, it's fine, or look forward. I'm not that concerned, the direction of your head. Keep the front bottom ribs back, reach up, hold on, grab onto whatever the imaginary thing you're holding on to. And move your shoulder blades in and up to push the arms up. And then as you reach up, drop your right hip down another inch. And think, yum, how wonderful this pose is. And then reaching up, straighten that front leg, parallel your feet, arms out to the side, jumper step your feet together, turn to face the front. Hands on hips, left foot forward, right leg back. Turn the back thigh in. Press the back thigh back, press into the outer back heel. Square the hips, square the ribs. Front bottom ribs back. Shoulder blades in and up. Now extend your arms forward, shoulder blades in and up to bring the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana with the arms, just that the legs aren't next to each other now. Compact those hips together, that's going to help. Front bottom ribs back. Now shoulder blades in and up, reach up high. Now hold on to the imaginary thing you're holding on to. Don't let the arms come down. Exhale, bend your front leg, knee over your ankle, thigh parallel to the floor. Reach up. So front bottom ribs back. The abdomen is drawing in and up. I didn't say that for the other side, my apologies. Abdomen in and up. Shoulder blades moving in and up to lift the chest, but then also to push the arms up. Right side, Kathy. Push the arms up. Now reach up, hold on to that imaginary thing that you're holding on to and drop your left buttock down another inch. Yeah, it's a balancing pose. You have to get the awareness in the back leg for that balance. Observe. Did I say observe? Is anybody observing? And now continue reaching up, straighten the front leg, parallel your feet out to the side, and then jumper step your feet together. Tadasana. Come to the front of your mats. Arms forward, arms up. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, exhale, hands on the floor. Walk your feet back, separate your feet, downward facing dog. Of course, you can use the chair that blocks. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Turn your thighs in, press your thighs back. Nice with your legs, Kathy. That's really good. Press those thighs back, length of the arms, armpits, side ribs. Extend your outer heels down, lift your outer hips up. Bring those shoulder blades in. Again, they go into the body, they do go down towards your waist, but then they come back towards the front of the body and extend your chest forward. Look up, walk your feet forward. Sweep your arms back, extend your heart forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Feet together. Tadasana. All right, watch. I'm going to show it from the side, but you can keep your mats the way they are. You'll need a block and a blanket. So here's how I like to have the blanket here. I take it from what we call headstand or shoulder stand size, the way it's on the cabinets, and fold it in half once. And then place that, but have space where your head can go. Now there are 3 heights to a block. Low height, so watch for a minute. Low height, medium, high height. We're going to use all of them, or maybe you'll just use 2 of them depending on you, which will be fine. Sorry, my earbud's falling out. I'm gonna have to get used to these. Sorry, folks at home, my earbud fell out. There we go. Hopefully you can hear me now. If you can't hear me, somebody let me know. Of course, how could they let me know if they can't hear me? Not one of those funny things. Wave to me if you can hear me. All right, I see somebody waving. All right, so the shoulders go on the blanket, head goes off the blanket. But if you have a rug, it's okay for it to be on the rug, but you don't really want it on a hard floor. So that's why we have the mat here. You could also use a second blanket. We're going to start with the low height. It'll go not at your lower back, but at your sacrum. Roll your shoulders under and straighten your legs. Now, what have we've been working on most of the day? The front bottom ribs not thrusting forward, but drawing in so that you can bring your shoulder blades in and up to lift the chest. Okay, so it's not this one. I'm trying to get the chest towards the shin, towards the chin. All right, do you see the difference between this and this? Okay, so we'll be there for, I don't know, a minute till I get bored. And then you lift your buttocks up and you'll turn this to the medium height. And then slide that under. Again, rolling your shoulders under, straighten your legs. And again, you have to adjust, because the first thing that happens to me, if you look at this, my ribs are going up. So I have to think about it. Okay, draw my ribs back and then bring my shoulder blades in to lift the chest. And that makes much more space in the neck. Now we'll be there for however long. And then some of you will go to the high height. Lift up, turn the block. Now look at the block. I am turning it so that this way it's in line with my spine. Okay? And then again, at the sacrum, roll the shoulders under, straighten the leg. If this one is, and now I have to do that adjustment. See how lifted that is? So I'm going to draw my ribs in and then bring my shoulder blades in. Now I'm actually beginning to get the actual chin lock there, which is what we want, Jalandhara Bandha. If this is too much for you, no worries. Some of you can certainly take stuff under your feet, not a problem. Or you'll just stick around here for a longer period of time. Also, totally cool. All right? Let's get set up. If you have any questions at home, you can ask me as well. So, shoulders on the blanket, head is on the floor. I don't care which direction you're going. Or I shouldn't say head on the floor, but head on the mat. So, so George, your head is about to be on the floor. So I'm going to take your blanket a little closer to the back wall. So come out and take your blanket closer to the back wall so that you have a lot of space there for your head to be. And then everyone bend your legs, lift your buttocks up, and put that block underneath your sacrum. And then straighten your legs. So everyone's starting off at the low height. So you can go in stages. Now I want to remind you, it's not your lower back, it's your sacrum. So everyone's at the low height. We'll have plenty of time. I'm looking to ease the body into this, and also so you can experience the different heights. They're quite different poses, and they all have a benefit. Some of us always want to just do the extreme. Yoga is not about just doing the extreme. Do turn the thighs in, so the toes are pointed up. Now take the front bottom ribs towards the back body. Soften your jaw, soften your throat. Take the front bottom ribs towards the back body and bring the shoulder blades into the body to bring the chest closer to the chin. Do not confuse the chest moving towards the chin with the chin moving towards the chest. The chin does not move towards the chest. In fact, the chin moves away from the chest. But the chest moves towards the chin. I should also say that even though I said the chin moves away from the chest, that doesn't mean the back of the head moves towards your shoulders. The chin moves away from the chest, the back of the head moves away from the shoulders. Kind of means your neck has to get longer. And the front bottom ribs move towards the back body, and the shoulder blades, then after you draw the ribs in, bring both shoulder blades in to lift the chest. Bring the chest closer to the chin. Soft throat, nothing more important than your soft throat. Now do keep the thighs turned in, the thigh bones pressed down, especially lower back people. Press the thigh bones down, the tops of the thigh bones, and take the tailbone up. Thigh bones down, tailbone straight up towards the ceiling. And then, of course, we lengthen through the inner legs. What do we do with the outer legs? Anybody? Outer knees to outer hips. Compact the hips. So lengthen through the inner legs. The very upper inner thighs do draw towards the lower abdomen. Then from the upper inner thighs, extend out through the inner knee, through the inner ankle, through the ball of the big toe. The flesh of the inner thighs descends. Draw from your outer knees to your outer hips. Isn't this wonderful and luscious? God's gift to humanity, B.K. Iyengar calls this. All right, now we're all going to move to the medium height. So bend your legs, lift your buttocks up, and turn the block to your medium height. And I should have said this, but if you're at home and don't have blocks, then you use pillows or towels. Towels sometimes are a little better than blankets, and then straighten your legs. Once you're at the medium height, you straighten your legs. Carla, turn the block. Good. Turn the thighs in, toes point up. If it's hard to turn the thighs in, take your feet further apart. I don't care how close your feet are together. Yeah, final pose, they're together, but final pose is no block. The bottoms of your feet are on the floor. Your hands are supporting your back and your wrists are killing you. So the shoulders do roll under, that's fine. Take the front bottom ribs towards the back body and bring the shoulder blades in to lift the chest. But as you bring those shoulder blades in to lift the chest, don't thrust the front ribs towards the ceiling. Of course, if you want to experiment and see the difference, you're welcome to experiment. You don't have to trust me or take my word for it. But as someone who comes to this with a series of neck difficulties, when you bring your front bottom ribs in and then bring your shoulder blades in and up, it creates more freedom in the neck. Do press the thigh bones down and the tailbone up, especially those that suffer from lower back pain. You have to learn to bring the thigh bones down and the tailbone in, straight up, not a tuck. It's a very different action, but straight up. Lengthen through the inner leg, toes point up, lengthen through the inner leg. Of course, the tops of the thighs still drawing back, but then from the tops of the thighs, lengthening out through the inner leg, the flesh of the inner thighs descends. Draw from your outer knees to your outer hips. Compact the hips together. Soft throat, soft jaw. And now observe. Now, this is where you have to begin to connect with your own body and choose what's best for you and not be beholden to the teacher. We're going to the high height. You're welcome to stay here. Bend your legs, lift your buttocks up, turn the block to the high height, but also turn it 90 degrees. And then straighten your legs again. And notice if for you, like me, your ribs are thrusting up, toes up, toes up. Don't try and get the soles of the feet down. If you're like me and the ribs are thrusting up, and if you are, please take those front bottom ribs towards the back body, and then bring the shoulder blades in to bring the chest closer to the chin, not the chin closer to the chest. If you find that it's too high, you can go to the lower height. Of course, pressing the thigh bones down and taking the tailbone straight up may also do the trick, but it depends on your body. Listen to your body, not the teacher, or your body is the teacher. I'm the guide. The teacher is really the guide. Your body is the teacher. But do whatever position you're in, do still press the thigh bones down and take the tailbone straight up. Extend through the inner legs, right? So the tops of the thighs draw back in, then extending outward through the inner knee, through the inner ankle, through the balls of the toes, drawing from the outer knees to the outer hips as the flesh of the inner thighs descends. Also, for those that really do have lower back issues, what we were working on Tuesday, or one of the things we worked on Tuesday, with opening the backs of the thighs from the inside out, that's the same here. So we say turn the thighs in, press the thighs down, but it's that same action for those who were here Tuesday or who understand this, open the backs of the thighs from the inside out and then press the thighs down. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. It's what we did on Tuesday. Soft jaw, soft throat. All right, now we're going to slowly come down. So bend your legs, lift your buttocks up and come back down to the medium height. If you're on the medium height, you can just stay there. Everyone come down to the medium height and then straighten your legs again. Turn the block bob. We won't be here quite as long. We're going to ease our way out. Lengthen through the inner legs, front bottom ribs back, shoulder blades in. And then coming to the low height, bend your legs, lift your buttocks up, come to the low height, then straighten your legs. Shoulder blades in, front bottom ribs back first, then shoulder blades in, lengthen through the inner legs, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Keep the thighs turned in or the backs of the thighs opening from the inside out so that your toes are pointing up. Some of you that struggled keeping your legs together on the higher heights will now be able to take your legs together. They don't have to come together, but for some of you, they will. And if they are together, then it's heels together, toes together. And then bend your legs, lift your buttocks, remove the block, come down from the top of the spine to the base of your spine, sit bones towards your heels. Take a couple breaths. You can adjust the blanket, if you need, if you want it under your head instead, that's fine. Take a couple breaths. And then turn to the side, downward facing dog pose. Move the blanket, come onto your hands and knees. You can keep your hands turned out slightly, pressing down to the balls of the first finger and thumbs, lengthening through the inner arms, toes under, straighten your legs. Inhale, Exhale, come into the pose. Thighs back. We got so much length through the side ribs in that pose. Don't thrust the front bottom ribs down. The front bottom ribs now move up towards the body. So now the front bottom ribs still move towards the back body. This time that means towards the ceiling. Keep the thighs pressing back. Keep all that length. Enjoy all that length that you just got in Setu Bandha. Enjoy that here. Press the thighs back. Extend the outer heels down as you lift the outer heels up. On your exhalation, take your chest towards your thighs, bring your shoulder blades into the body. The shoulder blades move towards your waist and then come back in to move your chest forward. And then bend your legs, child's pose. So feet together, knees apart. Rest your head either on the floor or you take the blanket or block and rest that underneath your head. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders, push to come up. So for some, back bends cause discomfort in the lower back. So we're going to try and clear some of that. Everybody go get a strap, lie back. Bend your right leg into your chest, put the strap around your foot where the heel meets the arch, straighten your leg. Supta Panagustasana 1. Press the thigh bone back. Keep the lower back completely on the floor. Keep the lower back completely on the floor. Left leg is bent, right leg is up. We're not straightening the lower leg today. Yeah, final pose, the lower leg is straight. But I just wanted you to begin to access the lower back for those that, and this is beneficial for everybody, of course. But I want you to really take the top of the thigh, where the thigh meets your hip, take that back. No death grips on the strap. Please soften your shoulders. We just did all this all this was for shoulder opening. Please don't stress out your shoulders now. Soft throat, soft jaw. Press the thigh bone back, straighten the leg, lengthen through the inner leg, draw from your outer knees to outer hips. As you press your thigh back, take your outer right hip away from your shoulder. The kneecap points forward. So when you take the outer shoulder back, sometimes the thigh turns out, in which case you'll have to turn the thigh back in and press the thigh back, take the hip with it. When you really get that, and for me, it did take me a few years to fully understand it, but when you get the outer hip and the thigh moving back, it begins to adjust the top of the buttocks and move the top of the buttocks away from the waist. And that's when it creates ease in the lower back. Switch legs. So left leg is up, right leg is bent. Press the thigh bone back. Make sure that the whole lower back is down, that the lower back is not coming up at all, at all. And the thigh bone presses back. Soften your shoulders and throat, please. Lengthen through the inner leg. Kneecap is forward, right? Lengthen through the inner leg. Draw from the outer knee to the outer hip. The flesh of the inner thigh is still moving back. Take the outer left hip away from the left shoulder. Note if that makes your thigh turn out. Turn it back in. Then press the thigh bone, especially where it meets the hip. Press the thigh bone and the outer hip back. And maybe today, maybe not today. Again, it took me a long time to actually understand this instruction. But when you get them both in sync, for some of us, it will activate the top of the buttocks moving away from the waist to create relief and release in that lower back area. Tell me. That's okay, don't be sorry. No sorries here. Remember, no sorries in yoga. All right, bend the leg, release the strap. Extend your arms out to the sides. Actually, you can take a blanket for your head. We're gonna do a gentle twist, and then we're gonna move into Shavasana. So if you want a blanket under your head, now's a good time to take that blanket. You can take this flat blanket and just take that underneath your head like I have it here. And of course, if you need to fold that up, you can fold it up. Once you have that, arms out to the side, bend your legs into your chest. Keep the thighs together. Inhale, exhale. Keep that left shoulder blade down and take your knees towards your right elbow. Turn the abdomen to the left as the knees go to the right. Abdomen to the left as the knees go to the right. Soft face and soft jaw. Take the outer left hip away from your left shoulder. And then inhale, come up. Take your feet on the floor, square your hips and square your shoulders. Bend your legs back into your chest. Keep the thighs together, and then take your knees towards your left elbow. Thighs together, turn your abdomen to the right as the knees go to the left. Keep that right shoulder blade down. Take your outer right hip away from your shoulder. And then inhale, come up to center. Take your feet on the floor, square your hips and square your shoulders. And bend your legs back into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug here. Say something kind to yourself. Hug yourself like you mean it. Give yourself a soft smile. Bathe in your own true splendor. And then take your hands on the face of your knees. Again, this is nice for the lower back. Inhale, let your legs move away from you. Exhale, draw your legs towards you. I learned this one from Anne. Inhale, legs moving away. Exhaling, legs drawing towards you. So a few breaths like this. And on your next inhalation, take your feet to the floor. Straighten your legs one at a time. Find a comfortable place for your arms up to the sides, maybe at about 30-degree angles to the body. Find a comfortable position for the arms. It could be palms up, or perhaps the side of the hand is on the floor. Whatever's working for you today, and let go. Let go. If you have glasses on, always nice to take them off. Of course, your choice. Observe. Start with observation. The current physical experience, the current emotional experience, without judgment. Observation. Then begin making adjustments. Surrender the arms, surrender the legs. Surrender the torso. As if the back of the torso is becoming wider as it sinks into the Mother Earth below you. Rest your eyes into your cheekbones as you surrender your skull, letting all of your facial features release and relax and let go. Soft throat, soft jaw, soft lips, soft tongue. Moving back to observation, become a witness. A witness for the dance of the breath in the body. The breath using the body to do its work of breathing. The breath will breathe you. And observing that delicate dance between the prana, breath, the prana, life force, and this body. Shavasana. To begin slowly coming out, begin to lengthen the inhalation and lengthen the exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor, knees together, feet apart. Place your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, pick a side, extend your arm past your ear, roll to that side, rest your ear into your upper arm. When you feel ready, take your top hand on the floor in front of your heart, turn your torso towards the floor, push to come up chest first, head last, come up to sitting. Always nice to have a lift. Bring your palms together at your chest. Draw your eyes back and down as you turn the corners of your lips up. Observing your practice. What's different? What's changed? Remember to take your yoga practice with you outside of this room, into the rest of your day, your afternoon, your evening, into all of your interactions with other people, with kindness and with compassion. Kindness and compassion for others, and most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. Let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Om. Gently let your eyelids open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you, everybody at home. For people here, I didn't give instructions last time. When you put the blankets away, so fun to say this again. When you put the blankets away, please make sure they are this size and they go in fringes inward, rounded side outward. It is not mandatory. If anybody wants a hug, hugs are available. Thank you, everybody at home. If anyone has questions, let me know.
A big hug from France.